Hello dear World of Warcraft friends, welcome back to a new video on my channel. Today I want to give a quick recap. The first season of World of Warcraft Midnight is quickly approaching its end. So far this season I have played 2 ranged DPS at 3.4k plus rating, a tank that's currently just under 3.3 thousand, and my new healer is just under 1.3 thousand. I've been thinking about this and I want to give you a little insight into which of these I actually enjoyed the most and why. And the answer is actually quite surprising. Feel free to write your opinion in the comments as well. I'm really curious, so let's get started with the video. Leave a like, subscribe if you don't want to miss any news, tips, tricks, and so on in Season 2, and feel free to subscribe to my second channel as well. G6 Plus, we're just about to hit 7,000, the link is in the video description. There I upload Schmierkäse Mythos Schniekemütig Plus runs every day. Let me make it clear again, it's not about perfect gaming, it's just about entertainment. Feel free to check it out. I'll get through the first part pretty quickly, and that's DPS. At the start of the season, I played Boomkin, and after that, I got my Demon Hunter DPS to over 3,400 rating each. And here I have to say, compared to previous seasons, not much has changed for me. I still prefer to play DPS. I just like having this challenge, competing with other players, seeing how I do in the DPS race, and getting the most out of my character. That's still what I enjoy the most. But of course, you still have the same old disadvantages. It's harder to get into keys because there's an absolute oversupply of DPS players, while tanks and healers are in short supply. And compared to the other roles, I think as a DPS, you sometimes feel a bit more powerless. So in many situations, yes, it's important that you focus down priority targets, that you play the mechanics correctly, and so on and so forth. But when certain things go really wrong, at least that's how I felt. I feel like as a tank, and especially as a healer, I'm a bit more able to help the group succeed. And that's something that, in my opinion, feels a bit more rewarding. But all in all, I really enjoyed playing DPS this season. I've been saying it all along, for me the War Within was worse. Or to put it another way, Midnight is more fun for me than the War Within. I thought the dungeon selection was better. I wasn't that happy with the changes to the Balanced Druid, but that's just personal preference. That doesn't change the fact that I still enjoy the gameplay as a DPS. It was fun. But towards the end, you have to say, when you're in this 3.4k range with some classes, it's really, really hard to find groups without a regular group. I don't have time for a regular group, and that's why, yeah, the higher I got in rating, the less I played DPS in the end, because I just didn't feel like waiting in queues for hours. So nothing has changed there. Now about tanks. I played the monk as basically my second character. I leveled him up after the druid. And here I have to say I was actually pleasantly surprised. The monk tank was incredibly fun. Yeah, at the start of the season, it was a top class, like, flavor of the month or meta spec or whatever you want to call it. But I don't even think that's necessarily a bad thing because, my god, in the end, you just want to have fun in this game. I won't be a #1 tank. And I do think that classes that are good right now are usually good for a reason, and they usually play a bit cooler too. Whether it's because you deal more damage, survive better, or something else. But it led me to play a tank that I had played very, very rarely before. Monk, in this case. And at the beginning of the season, I found it sometimes pretty frustrating as a tank. So most of the toxic groups I got were when I was tanking. Of course, you could also say it was because I tanked badly, right? I don't want to rule that out either. But as a tank, you definitely have the most pressure. You have to set the route, you have to make the right pulls. If you die, it's your fault. Usually, if someone in the group dies, I also find that more intense than in previous seasons. The DPS start hitting the packs even earlier now, so sometimes it's really, really hard to pull aggro at the start. Like what just happened here. I lost someone. And yeah, just this whole combination of routes, clean tanking, the right pulls. If you pull too much, it's your fault. If you pull too little, it's your fault too. That's not for everyone. By now, I think it's gotten a bit better. As people got more familiar with the season, and so did I, it has become calmer and more relaxed. But all in all, I have to say, it was fun, but in the long run, I couldn't play tank. Well, at least I notice now we definitely still want to break the 3.4k mark. And I have to say, I just feel more comfortable signing up for higher keys as a DPS or healer, whereas with some 16s, I know, boy, that's going to be quite a sweat fest. That's going to be a challenge for me. Yeah, I just don't really feel that comfortable with it. But that's also a personal feeling. In the end, it's fun. But in the long run, the tank gameplay is sometimes too stressful for me. And unlike with the DPS, it doesn't always feel quite as rewarding. With DPS, you notice it through big damage numbers. That you did something right. When tanking, I think this progress, the more gear you get, yeah, you can take more hits. But that feeling of progress just isn't really there for me personally. It was fun. For me this season, it only lands in 3rd place out of 3. And in 1st place for me is actually healing. I wouldn't have thought that. And maybe I'll say this in advance. That might also have to do with the fact that I've played the healer the least so far. So it feels fresh. And often things that are new are more fun than the things you've been playing all the time. But I think healer offers you the biggest challenge. Of course, as a DPS, you also notice the jumps. When something goes from plus 12 to plus 14, that things hurt more and so on. But as a healer, you really feel it intensely, that suddenly things that didn't do anything at plus 11 really start to hurt at plus 13 or plus 14. I now have 275 item level. We're doing plus 14 keys. I'm not quite at the end yet. I have to say that as well. Maybe I'll totally change my mind in plus 16 keys or something. But up to this point, it's been solid, and that's actually been the coolest part for me. The Demon Hunter was a lot of fun for me, because I also noticed how I was getting better. And how I was dealing more and more damage bit by bit. But as a healer, it was like this. Every time you moved up a dungeon level, and I started right away at 10, and I always tried to go higher right away. Yeah, every dungeon felt harder than the previous one. You're really challenged as a healer, so you can't really be carried through. Well, let me put it this way. Even if you were getting boosted, 14 and 15 keys, I would probably say you still need someone to heal for you. Because if you, I don't know, can't heal 13 or 12 keys, then even top DPS alone won't help you, or a top tank. It increases your chances, but it's still not an automatic timed run. And yeah, getting to try more often feels really, really nice. So, as I said, it was the biggest challenge for me, but in a fun way. Because tanking is also challenging, but here I don't have to plan the route, I just follow along. Also, I think healing actually feels pretty nice. Blizzard said they would increase player health with 12.1 so that it's not such a health bar ping pong anymore, but personally I didn't think that was so bad. We've already had seasons that were much more extreme than that, and just this, I don't know. For example, like I said at the beginning, the first boss in Seat of the Triumvirate, a blob was pulled into the boss. That was on plus 13, I think. I had around 270 item level, and I just popped my cooldowns, healed through it, nobody died, and we still killed the boss. And those are the moments where you feel like you really have the power to decide, is this still gonna be in time or not? And I don't mean that I'm some super amazing healer, but it just feels rewarding when a situation like that comes up and you manage to heal through it. I also have to say I haven't been blamed at all in keys so far. If I ever let someone die or something like that. As a tank, in my opinion, you get more negative feedback. And when you compare all of that overall, I also have to say what I miss a bit as a healer is being able to measure myself against someone else. Like in terms of damage. Like competing on damage. But now, towards the end of the season, I have to say pushing, or well, I'm not really pushing high anyway. But climbing within the keys is more fun for me as a healer than as DPS because it really feels like I have to do more, but in a fair way. It's not like you suddenly go from plus 12 to plus 13 and you instantly get smashed by everything. Instead, you learn what hurts more now, where you need to pay more attention, and where you can improve. And you notice progress very quickly. And that's why, a bit surprisingly for me, but now after I've played everything extensively, I actually enjoyed playing healer the most. Does that mean I'll keep maining a healer? No. In the end, I still prefer playing DPS. But I'll probably gear up my healer right at the start of the second season just to play more again. And I have to say, I just think the Resto Shaman is absolutely awesome. So no matter if it's going to be good or bad next season, I'll still play it because I just enjoy its gameplay as a healer the most. So feel free to give it a try, and like I said, check out my second channel if you want to get some insights into a few specs. We actually try out all the classes over the course of the expansion. Usually by the end, I always have everything at level 90 or max level. I would appreciate it, and with that, thanks for watching. See you in the next video, and take care.